It has some issues. It is not. I think it has some issues with
Hello,
the.
everyone. Welcome to our session today, Rainbow Secure Symposium. I would like to take an opportunity of welcome our guests and
Saurabh Jain.
worthy audience. I will also request Muskan to give a quick introduction of our first guest speaker.
Sure. Thanks everyone once again for joining in here. Today we have Saurabh Jain as a speaker who would be talking about the entrepreneurship. He is a founder of Fun to Do Labs, and he has also founded a social initiative called startuplearn.org. Saurabh was vice president at Paytm till February 2021. He was also heading the Paytm Build for India program and also had an active role in startup products, developer relationship too, CSR within Paytm. He is a chartered accountant and has a keen interest in technology. He has also authored two books on mobile application technology. He wrote Mobile Phone Programming, which was India's first book on mobile app programming. He is the inventor of Personal Persistent Messaging System, which is PPMS, and Neuro Symbolic Network Generation and Execution System, for which he had got provisional patents. He has been a speaker at the multiple platforms as well, like IIT Delhi, all IITs and IIMs, and he is a chartered member of TIE. As a software developer, he has been awarded the following titles in the past: BlackBerry Elite and Nokia Developer Champion. He is an avid reader and has read more than 200 books in the last 5 years. He is also a member of the National Expert Advisory Committee on Innovation, Incubation, and Technology and Entrepreneurship, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Over to you, Saurabh. Thanks a lot for joining us here once again and would like to hear your insights. Thanks again.
Everyone, nice to be here. So today I will be talking on what is entrepreneurship, what is a startup, and just 1 second, I will share my screen. So, see, to start with, what is a startup? A startup is any organization which builds a product or a service under uncertainty. So, generally, the question is that what is a startup? And many people feel startup is a small organization. Some people feel that startups are only tech organizations. So, both sets of people are wrong. So, startup is any organization which builds a product or a service under uncertainty. So, this definition was given by Eric Ries in his famous book Lean Startup, The Lean Startup. Incidentally, like many people are from Silicon Valley here and San Francisco today. So when I read the book, I was in San Francisco at that time, and book refers to a lot of places in San Francisco. So it was obviously very interesting to read this book. And this is like a Bible in startup world. I would refer you all this book to read. And then why should you start a startup? Now the question is, see, many people feel we will be becoming our own boss, or many people want to start a startup to become a billionaire. All these are not the right reasons for making a startup. So the right reason for making a startup is that you see a distant thing, and you like there is something new or some problem which you feel that if you solve this problem, it will be very profitable to solve the problem. The other thing is that, like, it's like a mountain which tells you, like, many times you see in the real world, see, if you have a mountain near your house, you will want to climb that mountain. So if that mountain motivates you to climb, then only start a startup. So a startup is like a mountain. It's not very easy to climb it. So if the challenge motivates you, not the money, you should climb the mountain. And obviously, when you are climbing, you should understand that if you are able to solve that big problem, you will be getting a lot of money. But the money should not be the main motivator. The main motivator should be the challenge which you get out of climbing that big mountain. And finally, after reading more than 200 books, I realized that startups are obviously complicated, and if you know about that legendary Mahabharat battle, so there was this character called Abhimanyu who got stuck in this Chakravyuh. So I sometimes feel startups are like Chakravyuh. So you don't know what to do, and it becomes very difficult to do right things at the right time. So I created this canvas to understand what to do at what time. So the total life cycle of a startup can be divided into search, build, scale, three stages. And there are three focus areas. So I have had the opportunity to work with Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma, who is the founder of Paytm, one of the most iconic entrepreneurs in last 10 years. And I realized that he focuses on three things mainly: product, people, purchasing power. So the most important thing in a startup is product. Obviously, everybody wants product. That's why they become customers. You need good people because product you cannot make without good people, and good people need good money. So purchasing power. And you have this 3 by 3 matrix. So you have these three steps to startup success: product, people, purchasing power, and every step has three sub steps. So you have problem solution fit, product market fit, and growth profit fit in some product. In people, first step is finding founder, second is finding core team, third is building a corporation. In purchasing power, first step is bootstrapping, second is finding an angel investor, third is venture capitalist, and finally, once you have scaled, final destination is portfolio of products, a good culture, and one day an IPO will come, you will become a millionaire, billionaire, something like that. So broadly, startup canvas gives you that clarity of doing what at what time. So when you start, focus on the big problem you want to solve. What is the solution? Don't try to build the product immediately. Try to understand the problem and solution. Then build a product. First start with a minimum viable product. Then create a final product after iterating a lot. Then final destination is product market fit, after which investors are willing to fund you. Especially venture capitalists are very particular about having product market fit. And then growth profit fit. Once you have product market fit, you need to grow. You can expand geographically, you can expand in various segments, and finally, once you have economies of scale, you can have growth profit fit. So now the question is which problem to start with. So I analyzed a lot of things. I read this book called Ikigai, and I realized you need to four things: do what you love, do what you are good at, do what you can be paid for, and finally what the world needs. If you see Elon Musk, so Elon Musk does what he loves. He's good at it. He is obviously being paid for. He's a billionaire. He's getting money from those things, and he's doing what the world needs. We all need some mission to Mars. We all need clean energy. We all need clean transportation. He's doing that. And why Silicon Valley is more successful than most Indian, I would say, Indian tech companies in terms of products? Because products need to be having three things: desirable, viable, feasible. All products should be desirable, viable, and feasible. So desirable is art, viable is commerce, feasible is science. So here I would like to stop, and if anybody has any questions, we can make it more interactive. People can ask me questions. So broadly, the thing is that when you start a startup, don't focus too much on technology, focus on problems. And if you see Silicon Valley startups, because most people are here from US, so if you realize, you will realize that why US companies are so successful. So the problem is that most Indian businesses, Indian tech companies start with technology first, and then they come to problems as an afterthought. But if you see successful startups, even in America or even in India, like Paytm, they all start with a big problem and they use technology to solve that problem. So technology is subservient to the problem. It's not the other way around. That you have to be very clear. So if anybody has any question, you can ask me, or I can go a little bit more on my own. But I would really want it to be more interactive in nature. So I think there are no questions, so I can go ahead. Oh,
Yes,
Saurabh.
sir. Yeah, I think we can completely relate to that what you mentioned. Think about what problem you are solving. Don't think that because I know the blockchain technology, so I want to create some product on blockchain. You have to first envision what issue at hand you want to solve, what people need. I think from there you can start building up. So that's the correct thought, that always problem first. If you have problem, then we'll try to solve it. You will be able to have a value prop. Accordingly, everything will flow.
Yeah.
And okay, sorry, I misspell your name, and again, I will be sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
think Nehal can relate her own experience, how we started Rainbow
yeah,
Security. So it was a big challenge that she
so
tried to.
when we started this journey, I have same kind of problem you just explained here right now, and yeah, we this is startup is very big journey.
Yes. So startup is so how much time do I have? I can speak accordingly.
45
Yeah,
minutes.
you have another 20, 30 minutes you have, yeah.
Okay. So I come to the next slide now. So then another learning which I had was that see, I studied lot of startups and companies, MNCs, etc. What I realized was that, and this is more like I think people in the valley understand this, and like some of the learnings have been from US only. So what I realized was that why, like if you see in India, there are two very big food chains, restaurant chains. So one is A2B in South India, and one is the Haldiram in North India. But if you see A2B, Haldiram, and even Shavna Bhavan, all these have only 40, 50 outlets. They don't have more than 50 outlets, I think. And if you see Domino's, they have thousands of outlets in the world, and McDonald's is obviously the king of outlets. They have 29,000 outlets around the world. So initially, 20 years ago, I think because most of the audience have some connection to India, they will relate. I used to think why we don't have big chains is more due to like India has corruption. You have a lot of infrastructural issues, and that's why we don't have too many big chains. But then I think I was wrong. I saw a few years ago that McDonald's crossed 1,000 outlets just in India, and Domino's I think has more than 500 outlets in India. So what was the difference? Why Domino's and McDonald's crossed so many outlets, and why still Haldiram and A2B and Shavna Bhavan have not crossed those many outlets? I think it's not an issue of India or America, or it's not an issue of infrastructure. It's more of an issue of the complicated nature of the menus of Indian food chain. So if you go to Haldiram, you can order 30, 40 items. If you go to any of these A2B or Sravna Bhavan, they have 40, 50 items. Now the problem is that it creates a problem in scaling. So 10 years ago, like I was creating an app and I was talking to my engineer. I said, why does Facebook have only like one? Like if you see the template of Facebook now it has become a little more complicated. But 10 years ago, it was just Facebook page, Facebook profile, and Facebook feed. So I said, why they can have n number of features, why they don't put features? And we used to think like, why Facebook with thousands of engineers cannot put more features? And we did not have the answer. We were thinking more like a techie, like why do they don't put features? And then what we realized was that now you have to make things simple if you have to scale. And this interestingly correlates a lot with, although I learned this from US people, but this actually correlates with a lot from Indian culture. So there is a concept called parigraha in India. If you know in Indian religions, so parigraha is basically don't take anything more than required.
Right.
So if you see, so McDonald's only sell the essential items. So they sell 2, 3 kinds of burgers. One Coke, which is obviously related to having tastier fast food, and they have ketchup and fries. They don't sell anything else, and maybe one ice cream. I think they have. And so just see, because you are small, you put constraint on your own self. You are able to grow. So when you talk, why India invented zero? So the reason, if you see Indian religions, so Jainism, Sanatan Dharam, if you see, they all talk about having less, not more. So
Right.
once you have less, you can grow more. So having less is the formula for growing more. Unfortunately, Indians forgot about that. And this US companies learned about this. And at the end of the day, you have Indian chains having just 50 outlets and the American chains having thousands of outlets even in India. And this is what I would say a scaling pattern. So to scale, you will have to create a pattern. So McDonald's has the same burger, but the filling becomes different. In India they don't have beef patty. In America they have beef patty. In China I don't know, but they can have very exotic kind of things because obviously India and US are more traditional in terms of their eating habits. So I would say the scaling pattern is very important for a startup. Every startup cannot do everything, so you have to be very focused on what you can do, what you cannot do. So, and I think what is more important than what you can do is what you cannot do. You have to be very clear what I cannot do or what we should not do, and you
Yeah, here
have to be
also I
very
think
focused.
I
And
can
if you,
interject.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I can interject here. I can again relate to our own startup where when we started with Rainbow Secure and Rainbow Password technology, we had so much thoughts in our mind. We had said, okay, actually, you know what, we can provide secure messaging. You know what, we can provide storage. You know what, we can provide an like fintech app. But then we realized that we have to narrow down. We have to focus on our core strength, and that's what we need. So then finally, after we going to the Microsoft Cloud Accelerator, we learned that we should focus, on the core strength. That's our multi-tier authentication, and that's what they taught us. That you should be focusing on what you want to give. Now we are just giving an identity and authentication platform, including single sign-on for other businesses and other startups to use and leverage. Other than be doing everything and becoming everybody's competitor and everybody's enemies, focus on your core strength, how you can empower your customers or other businesses that can grow together. So I think this was very essential thing that we learned during the last year. So during this COVID era, it was learning and launching phases, but this was very important thing that we had to take hard decisions that okay, focus on what's your strength and minimal offering but strong offering, stable offering. So I think you are right on top there.
Yes. So the next step is to start with a minimum viable product, and finally, after a lot of iterations, you will get to the product. So this is also another area where most startups, they try to copy Apple, and they feel that like we will not have beta, or we will not start with MVP. We will start with the final product. But I was just listening to a very senior person from Y Combinator on YouTube, and he was saying that even Apple first phone, which Steve Jobs launched with all that bang and everything, was actually sort of an MVP. It did not have App Store. It did not have a lot of apps which even Apple gives today, and most of the functionality which you see today in the phone was not there. So it was a very basic kind of a phone if you compare it with today's iPhone. So even Apple started with practically a MVP, and although they don't mention it as a minimum viable product or a beta product, but like Google, Paytm, they always generally start with beta or sort of a semi uh, like mode where they are not fully, you can say, polished apps. They start with a semi finished mode, and then they try to polish those apps with customer feedback. So you start building, then you measure, then based on the feedback you learn, and based on that you again update the app. So you have a lot of iterations, and finally you have a final product which is generally better suited to the customer. Most products before internet age were not that suited to customer. The reason was that there was, most products lacked the feedback loop. The feedback was slow to come. People were slow to update them. But in the internet age, feedback is instantaneous. You can just like anybody can comment, anybody can give you feedback, and companies have become very fast. I can give you one very clear example. So if you have used Paytm application, so every time you pay using Paytm application, there is a small number which comes on top of the transaction. So there is a big number which is the transaction number, but there is also a small number. So I will tell you a very small story relating to that small transaction number. So that was my idea. So what happened, I was standing, I had just joined Paytm initially as a consultant, and I was standing with Vijay Shekhar Sharma, the founder. And so the product managers, the manager level product manager came, and he said ki, Vijay, somebody showed a photoshopped screenshot to a shopkeeper, And that shopkeeper thought like it's a original Paytm app, and he said, "ठीक है, you can take the stuff." And then he came to know that it was a fraud. So now to stop that fraud, so they needed something. So I had done CA, so I said, so you should have some unique number on top of it. The question was that we put transaction number. I said transaction number is very long, nobody can remember it. Have it start from 1 every day in the morning. So now the next question was that how many how many numbers would be there. So there and then, so Paytm was very fast. See, I can just give you the glimpse of the feedback loop, what happens in Paytm. So Vijay, instead of people coming to Vijay's cabin, Vijay doesn't sit in the cabin, he sits on a normal workstation. So Vijay went to the workstation of that product manager. There, some analytic people also were there, some marketing people were there. So Vijay asked, he said, what will be the maximum number of people, like the number, because every transaction I said should update that number by 1. So he said that, so he asked the team, and they said that obviously it will be in a few hundreds every day for an average shop. And there and then there were some analysis of cloud related things, the cost related to that. And within half an hour, we had finalized that this is the feature to freeze. And after 2 weeks, the one of the VPs who was looking after offline payments, he came to me, he said, Saurabh, you had given this idea 2 weeks ago. I am telling you, we have just incorporated this in the app. So this is how fast things work in the internet age. And I'm happy that feature has stood test of time, and for last 3 years that feature is still there. And I use psychology and what I learned in CA in cyber in security. So in CA, there is a paper on IT, and in that there is a small question on security. So there I had learned from my teacher. So one thing was that if you know something unique, then you know that the other person is doing fraud. Now the other thing was that if you see psychology, if somebody in UP, or say, like I can give you specific example of UP or Bihar, if say I am a shopkeeper and last number was 10, and this person comes and he shows me number 4 through Photoshop, then obviously you know what will happen to that person. So when you catch a thief in North India, especially, I have seen when you catch a thief, the shopkeeper starts hitting that person, and the crowd will join, and everybody will hit a slap on that person. And after that, this person will never again do anything like a fraud. So I said that once you have this number, nobody will dare to do, because everybody can imagine ki if they are caught, what will happen to them. So nobody will try, and that has stood the test of time. Now most people don't do that. And obviously the company took other measures also. So now there is a device also which speaks. So whenever there is a payment, it tells that 100 rupees have come or 200 rupees have come. So it becomes even more secure for the shopkeeper. So this is how you learn. You add more features. You don't just put technology. So technology is like, so it's similar to like when you are writing, you just don't put English or Hindi or any other language. You put like the main thing is the story you are writing, or the poem should have the main essence of what you want to convey, and the words are only there to convey that. So obviously the language is not more important. The emotion you are trying to convey, the facts you are trying to convey, I think are more important, and language is just the medium for that. Similarly, technology is just the medium. The more important thing is what the customer wants, how you measure it, what you learn. And this is, I think, a very big thing which everybody should learn. Then the next thing is market size. So every startup which starts should have these 3 answers: total addressable market, serviceable available market, serviceable obtainable market. So total addressable market is, what is the total market? So when I started with my Fun to Do Labs, which is my startup, so I had this question before even leaving Paytm: should I leave or should I not leave? I had a very good job. I think like if you compare my salary, I think I don't know the exact statistics of what people are earning in India, but I think I was in first 10,000 people, 100%. I am sure I was in first 10,000 people in India in terms of salary. So it was obviously a difficult decision to leave a secure job and try to become an entrepreneur again. Although I was an entrepreneur, so I had a discussion with my mother, and she said, if you want to become an entrepreneur, then this is the best time. because after 5 years you will realize, like, obviously the age also becomes an issue, and after that you will also forget how you were an entrepreneur. Because like I had just left Paytm when I had joined Paytm, say, for 3 years. So I joined in 2017 and then I left in 2020. And so she said, you still remember how you were living like an entrepreneur earlier. So I still had all the zeal to become that entrepreneur. And she said that after 45, you would not have that zeal. So after a few years, I will lose that zeal. And I also realized that it is better to start in COVID, because COVID is like a slow period. So you will get more time for gestation. Otherwise, obviously, it becomes a little difficult if you don't start in such a period. So what I realized was that even though it was difficult, but the reason for leaving was I could see that mountain which I showed you. No? So I realized that there are more than 700 million kids in the age group of 3 to 10 around the world. So even if I can just take $20 from every kid, so $20 per year for providing whole school education. So $20 into 700 million is $14 billion a year. So $14 billion is the TAM, total addressable market. So I realized that I have a very big Mount Everest kind of a mountain to climb. I understand it's very difficult, but if I am able to climb, I will get this $14 billion of market. But the problem is that not all kids around the world can be reached even through internet. Everybody does not have internet. So serviceable available market is what is practically available, not the theoretical market. So you can estimate that 50% of kids around the world would have access to internet or some kind of a old smartphone or something. So the TAM was $14 billion, but serviceable available market for me is $7 billion only. And then I realized that obviously, because it's a content related thing, I cannot have 100% market. We wanted to create transmedia education, which is basically some story world, some characters through which you teach. So I understood Disney would one day be a big competitor. Maybe Netflix can also join. Maybe Byju's and other startups into education will also come. And finally, maybe even if we have the best product in the world, we would only have 20-25% of the market share. I'm not assuming we will have 80% market share, because certain markets are winner takes all markets. Certain markets are not like that. Like content market, I think cannot be a winner takes all market, because at the end of the day, everybody has their own preferences. There are geographical issues. A lot of things are there. So what we realized was only 20% market share if we get out of 7 billion, then 1.4 billion will be our serviceable obtainable market. But that was still very big. If you see in Indian rupees, it was more than 10,000 crores, which is a very big amount. So I realized if we can get so much of sales, and obviously most of the cost is fixed cost, so we will have a very big super profit if we are able to achieve that kind of a scale, and maybe 50% of revenue would be our profit. So what I realized was, even after taxes, etc., if we have just 25-30% of like profit margin, net profit margin, so we will have a valuation, say, of, if you compare of say with $1.4 billion, if I have just $500 million of profit and I have a 50 price to earnings ratio, my startup can be valued $25 billion with just my idea. So what I realized was that obviously I can stay in Paytm and be in top 10,000 in India, or I can leave Paytm, try to change the world, because like I showed you earlier, like it is a very big problem. So if I go back to the problem slide, so I loved what I wanted to do. I was relatively okay in it. Uh, Obviously, people are willing to pay $20. Even I asked the peon in my office, and I asked some of the poor people. So they said 100, 200 rupees, which is $2, $3 a month, is nothing for it, even a relatively poor person in India. And finally, what I realized, the world needs it. So United Nations has Sustainable Development Goals. So the fourth number is education. So what I realized was that if I succeed, I will be able to change the world, and I will be able to create more than $1 billion startup. And if I fail, I can always go back to doing a job. And I think most edtechs will give me value, because at the end of the day, even if I failed, I learned something new, because transmedia education is a very new concept. and not everybody can do it because it is a intersection of entertainment, education, technology. Most people don't know three things all at once. I fortunately was knowing all the three. So finally, I realized that I have to have a business model. So there are six kind of basic business models in internet technology, especially. So ad supported, freemium, subscription, e-commerce, paid downloads, Uber Forex. So Uber Forex is something like Uber. You are providing some physical service using an app, exactly like Uber or Lyft. Ad, we all know Google ads and other things. Freemium is giving something free and then charging later on. Subscription, we all know these days Netflix, etc., everything has a subscription, and sometimes they have freemium also. 5 stories are free, and after that you have to take a subscription. And then we have paid downloads, which is the plain vanilla business model which we have seen for last 10 years in app stores. And e-commerce, we all know Amazons of the world are there, and Shopify, etc., are there. So I realized I really like the subscription business model. And although I liked freemium and paid downloads, what I realized was paid downloads was difficult to get from day one. So ideally it should be freemium plus subscription. So initially you give something free, and after a certain point I will charge money. So that is the business model I will take. And then finally, what is the final goal? See, obviously the final goal is IPO, but one of the biggest intermediate goals is product market fit, high demand, positive unit economics, high retention. So Mark Andreessen, who is the founder of A16Z, Andreessen Horowitz, the big one of the biggest VC firms, and he's one of the biggest investors in Facebook also. So he says that what is product market fit? When market starts snatching product from you. So till product market fit, you are pushing the product in market. After product market fit, market snatches the product from you. You don't have time. So high demand, positive unit economics, high retention. High retention is a sacrosanct, because at the end of the day, if you are losing customers very fast, then even advertising or getting new customers would not help. Positive unit economics, because at the end of the day, if you are losing in every transaction, then more the transactions, more your loss will be there. But if you have positive unit economics, every transaction will create more profit than the expense. High demand obviously is necessary, one of the main conditions of product market fit. And then what happens when you pivot? So this is a big stage. What happens that maybe after 1 year, after 1.5 years, you realize whatever you do, there is no demand in the market. So Lean Startup book says that it's something like you are going on a cliff, and at a certain point the road ends, and you realize that if you continue going, you will fall down. So it is better to take a U-turn. Don't try to, like, sometimes people have this suicide kind of mentality where they say that no matter what happens, I will stick in this market, I will not take a U-turn. And that may be useful in war, but unfortunately is not useful in startup world. So what you have to do is that you have to take a U-turn. Many companies have taken U-turn till now. One of the best examples is Instagram. Instagram had the original app was having a lot of features. It was not a photo sharing app. But what they learned was that people were not using their main app, but they were trying to use the photo sharing. And they pivoted and they created a new app called Instagram, which had photo sharing only. And rest is history. And like, this 12% company was bought by Facebook, and these days they say that it is worth at least $400 billion, what was sold for $1 billion 5-6 years ago. And the growth has been exponential for Instagram. So pivots are important, and I am very fond of quoting Krishanji in all these things. So I would say pivot is something like what, if you know about the story of Sri Krishna. So when Sri Krishna was fighting Jarasandh, instead of fighting, he went to Gujarat, modern day Gujarat, and he founded the city of Dwarka there. So that was something like a pivot. So he realized that fighting would not give you anything. So he pivoted and he went to Dwarka, and there he created this big city which was very prosperous. So I think that is like, if you read the scriptures, you can get even pivot examples, various examples of pivot in Indian stories. So this was one example. So finally, I think the final thing is you need engines of growth. Many people feel you just need to buy ads and you can grow. So I still remember 7-8 years ago, I was a co-founder in a gaming startup, and my co-founder said, he said, Saurabh, we need to raise funding. I said, why we don't have a successful game till now? So he said, that's the reason. We are not successful because we are not able to buy Google ads in bulk. So if we raise funding, we will buy Google ads in fund and our game will become successful. Now I know that was a wrong theory, because at the end of the day, if your game is not successful at a certain scale, you cannot scale using just money. So there are 3 engines of growth as per lean startup. Stickiness, virality, paid. Stickiness is like Uber. It has been 1.5 years since I have used Uber, but I have still not deleted Uber because I feel it is a useful app. I should not delete it. Virality is like WhatsApp. Nobody in India used WhatsApp 10 years ago. Everybody in India uses WhatsApp today. That's only due to virality. Growth of Facebook has been only due to virality, and I think I always say I respect COVID-19 virus a lot, because I think COVID-19 virus is the best teacher for teaching virality. Just to give you an example, as a family, we were very cautious. So last year we did not venture out, but still my wife got very mild COVID. This year in March, my mother just went to 3 times to temple with the mask, and somehow she got the Delta variant and she was hospitalized even after vaccination. And so I tell that your product should be such, it should be so sticky that even if people don't want it in their life, they they should get it in their house. Something similar to what happens with COVID. And finally, you should have paid engine of growth. So paid engine of growth is like what Indian startups are doing now, Byju's, etc. They are buying ads, they are sponsoring cricket matches. So this is paid engine of growth. You have a lot of money, you burn that money to get more customers, and because like in case of Byju's, every customer is giving around 40,000 rupees to them. So if every customer gives 40,000, they can continue burning money, because if they burn 4 crores of rupees in India, they can get 1,000 customers obviously easily. So that cycle can continue. So they can continue burning money, they can continue getting customers, and this cycle can continue indefinitely. So these are the engines of growth. So I would say these are some of the core things as a startup you have to understand. You cannot become a successful startup till you have an engine of growth. If you don't have any engine of growth, you will not grow. For in my line, I would say Peppa Pig is one of the recent examples of a transmedia world getting very popular, because one kid tells another, and YouTube also helps in virality. So every line has their own ways of virality, stickiness, or paid. Like SaaS companies are very sticky. The social media companies have virality built in. The edtech companies generally use paid engine of growth because they have expensive products generally. So we also want to use all the 3 engines of growth in Fun to Do Labs, my startup. So with that, I can take 2-3 questions if anybody has any question. I think I have completed my presentation. And finally, once you have engines of growth, once you have scale, you will have super profit. The last slide which I want to share is this slide. Just 1 minute. So this is the last slide. So once after a certain point, I am skipping a little bit. I think somehow this slide is not loading that particular slide. The basic slide is after a particular time, you will get economies of scale and you will get super profit. And this is what happened with Facebook or Google. And this is, I think, what will happen to most Indian startups also, although people say that most Indian startups like Facebook, Zomato are loss making right now. But because they are profitable at the variable cost level, they are able to cover that. I think in future 2-3 years, most startups will be profitable in India. And this is how you should focus on your own startup. Generally, that is the way to go. Obviously, if you can bootstrap and you can get money from the customer from day one, it is very good. Generally, it's very difficult to get money from the customer from day one. But if you can get, and especially like in security, etc., I think, because like one thing I read was, are you selling a painkiller or you are selling a vitamin? So I think security is not a vitamin, it is a painkiller. So most people are willing to pay immediately. So it is a better line from that angle. So that is there. So any other question anybody has?
Let's wait a couple of seconds. Otherwise, I have one question on behalf of audience. Let's see anything on chat. Just a second.
Actually, I have a question though.
Okay, Sir, go
So
ahead.
I have a couple of questions, and thank you, Saurabh. You explained very nicely, and I thought like I am passing all this stage, and I struggle each and every step. If you guide me before that, it will be very easy. So first of all, I have one question. When we when we start up at that time, how to be um, scale it, okay, how to we scale your startup? Because when we are startup at that time, we don't have any revenue. It's we are starting as a build a platform. At that time, how did you know what's your value, how in the market? Because before revenue is very hard to
Initially,
imagine.
I would say that initially you don't focus on scaling. Initial focus is on building something of value to the user. I
Mhm.
think the first and foremost is, if I will just share you the slide again. So see, first is what is the big problem of the customer. Second is what solution you can build around that. So when I started with the problem, I realized that millions of kids around the world don't have access to education. Some don't have access to quality education, although they have access to village schools. The third thing was that even though that is there, the quality is not there. The other thing was that even if you have everything, you don't have fun in the education, and even kids in good elite schools don't enjoy. Like a good example was my own son, who said that I hate education, and I said you are studying in the best school, best teacher, and then he realized, oh, okay, I don't hate that much, but I still hate it. 80% you can say, not 100%. So I think once you understand the problem, so there is a very good technique called design thinking. So if
Mhm.
you use design thinking, talk to people, observe them, and you will understand that there are big problems which people have in life. Try to solve that problem using a unique solution. Generally, it is better to have a unique solution, but you can obviously study competitors and maybe change some of the aspects. Obviously, if you just copy 100%, it becomes very difficult to beat a entrenched competitor. Then finally build the product. The scale part comes very late once
Okay.
you have product market fit. So for example, if you, like in case of security, I don't know exactly what you are doing in security, but say first question would be whether I want to focus on B2B or B2C. So
Okay.
if you say, if you go to B2C, so in B2C you will realize people forget their passwords and all those kind of things will be
Yeah.
there. So you analyze and you come to know why people forget passwords, because some people have so many things in life they don't remember password. Some people feel keeping a password like ABCD 1234 is safe. Some people have this thing in mind. Some people feel other issues, like for example, they will tell password casually to their relatives and friends, etc. Many times it happens. So that is there. So you will think of the problem, you will find a solution. So for example, OTPs are relatively better solutions than passwords. I
Actually, we solved that problem that you just addressed that.
okay.
We have invented technology that's called Rainbow Secure technology, where you can have 1234 is your password, but it's strong more than current technology that we
Okay.
have.
So I think you are
So
going in the right direction. I think I just took the example and you are
yeah,
exactly
I
there.
just
Yeah.
So that
so
is
we
the
added
solution.
color and style to
Okay.
make that password stronger.
So
So
I
even
think
if you
the change maybe you need to do, or maybe you are on the exactly right direction, or maybe a little bit of change you may need to do is that
Yeah.
now you have MVP in the market,
Mhm.
and now what you need to do is that you need to be very near to the customer, take the feedback, and you learn from the customers, and then you will realize there are people like my mother who are not very tech savvy, and maybe your solution is good for people like me but may not be for my mother. So then you will need to extend the solution to various permutation
Okay.
combinations. Then there are language related issues. So maybe your solution like maybe good for English, but when you start using Hindi, Gujarati, Tamil, etc., maybe that thing may not work. So or maybe you can incorporate something like OTP or something, but there are issues. For example, in Kashmir, in India, for a large part of last 2 3 years, they were not having access to SMSs also. So those kind of issues are there, and I think you can have various permutation combinations of the final solution, and then you may have to look to B2B also, because at the end of the day, if I am a user, it may not be sufficient. You will have to go to sites like Facebook or other big sites. If they start using your solution, I think then sky is the limit. So then you will have to understand the market, like how to reach the maximum market. Will it be through websites, or will it be through pure B2C? If I adopt it for my Facebook account, or will Facebook adopt it and then I have to adopt it?
Yeah.
So I think you will have to do that. And finally, once you have a product market fit where you realize that B2B companies are coming to you and they are saying, please, we want this password solution, or you have say 10,000 people at the retail level, people like me, who are saying, I like your solution, I want to download it, I want to pay for it. And once you have that kind of a traction, say 10,000 people in B2C and maybe 10 people in 10 companies in B2B, then you can raise funding there, and then you can grow all at full speed in the growth phase, where you say that, say you raise $2 million at that time, and you say that now if it's a pure B2B B2C company thing, you will say we will do a lot of ads and we will do social media marketing and all those things. And maybe if you are doing B2B, then you will do B2 social media, but you will obviously have a sales force, and you can cover US first, and then you can again raise series say B, the next round of funding, where you will say that now we will expand to Europe, Asia, and obviously because you have been from India, it will be easier for you to spread to a second big market after US, India. So that is, I think, the path you should take, instead of like whatever the traditional path is, that you just publish it. And so this canvas I made after talking and observing and reading a lot, and I talked to a lot of people, because I was managing the startup initiative of KTM, so I was meeting a lot of startup entrepreneurs, VCs, angel investors every day. And after many people said that this is in right track, and obviously after reading etc., I finalized this, and I think this will be very relevant for you, because initially, if you get some traction, you can easily raise funding, and when you raise funding, obviously you can scale. Don't try to scale on day one, because you obviously would not have that much of money initially. The other thing is that till product market fit is not reached, it means that many customers are not liking your product. So if 20% or 30% customers are retained, it means people are not liking the product. If 70-80% of people are retained after 6 months, then you can be very sure that people are liking the product. And now doing advertising will be better than advertising without product market fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think
with
it's
my
very
product, okay, you can go.
yeah. I think it was very wonderful explanation. And so at Rainbow Secure, yeah, you are right. We have to narrow down, focus, start small. So we have taken the approach of the B2B side, that we are targeting a couple of B2B customers that can give us a good referral. So we are focusing on a healthcare customer. We have a customer on the legal side. So we are trying to build a base, but Nihal wanted to just learn whether should we try to acquire more customers, or should wait for this customer
Yeah,
to
I think
satisfy.
if you have B2B customers, try to have only 10-15 initially, and
Okay,
try to optimize your solution technically as well as psychologically, like the design part and the API part. Everything should work seamlessly after first 10-15 customers,
got it.
because you are doing B2B. And I would say first 10-15, if you have a net promoter score of say 8 and above for first 15 customers, then
Okay.
only you should try to expand. Because if the first 15 people are not happy, then
Mhm.
you should not try to expand, because obviously if they are not happy, the next 16th one will not be happy.
Right, right. So give the best service and best get the best feedback
Yes,
from
if
the
they are happy and they start promoting you everywhere,
Mhm.
say if you go to some legal company and they say that, oh, you are very good and we will promote you to some client also, So that tells you about product market fit. That means that if they are starting to promote, you are having virality or stickiness. Say after 6 months, you have the customer still using your solution. It means that they are liking it. And if you do that net promoter score survey, and if they say that it is 9 out of 10, then obviously you are in the right direction. 6 months have passed, they are still using it, and now if they want to promote it also to their own customers, or say their own some sister concerns, etc., then you will realize that you have achieved product market fit, and only then at that stage try to increase your market share, because otherwise what will happen will be you will get negative feedback. So many times, many companies, what they do is that they initially scale and everybody writes on their site, this company sucks, the product is bad, and all those things. And once you have 20, 30 such reviews, things cannot recover.
Right.
Mhm.
So it is better to have like a very few people. And generally, once you know people one to one, face to face, they don't write bad reviews publicly on internet. So that is also very important because if you don't know people, they will start writing negative comments on social media, etc. Then that will be very difficult to it will be very difficult
Yeah,
to
you're
salvage
right.
after that.
Yeah, also you have to have enough bandwidth to support the
Yes.
customers that you onboarded. So you have to
Yes, you can
genuinely
automate
get the
also after a
customer.
certain point. Once people are
Yeah.
happy, you can automate, and then at that time you will have more bandwidth for more customers.
Yeah. I think this is like a very valuable advice, and you really concisely mentioned entire startup journey, the thought process. Why you yourself decided to have a startup, although you had a nice job at Paytm. Then you went through this journey, and when somebody listens to this webinar, even after we are done here, when somebody goes to the recording, they will realize every entrepreneur, I think, would have faced one or other challenge, or they would have gone through the thought process that you went through. So I think our discussion and this entire conversation, the webinar was really, really helpful.
Yeah,
I think
And
everybody would here agree that it was really wonderful that you presented live what happened with you in real time, not like you put the bookish presentation where people just go through 1, 2, 3 slides. You went through real narration of what happened
it
with
looks like
you.
we went through all this stage.
So I think anybody who listens to this, any founder, every business owner would be able to, I think, relate your story and whatever they're doing. So I think this is a very wonderful
And
experience we
also,
had with you.
Saurav, I like to, after this session, maybe I reach you out to learn more from you. How can I make my startup more
Yeah, yeah.
successful, or
I am
maybe,
doing a master class, although it has started already. I am doing a startup master class with Adani Institute of Innovation.
Mhm.
yeah,
So they have a innovation hub with which I am doing this master class every Saturday. I do. I think maybe you can join the next batch. It will be very useful for you. So I have a few people
yeah,
from outside
sure.
India also, and I think it will be very useful to you. And you can
Hmm.
also follow me on LinkedIn. I have already shared on chat the LinkedIn and Twitter
Okay,
links of handles. I do share a lot of startup gyan on my social media channels, so
hmm,
you can follow me and
sure.
learn about some of these things.
Yeah, sure. I will do that also.
Okay,
And I
bye.
also request my viewers who is watching this session, please follow Saurabh Jain on a LinkedIn. You can find them on our website, and also here we are sharing their link. Please follow them. Thank you, Saurabh.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you again. Thank you for
Bye.
joining us today.